Brian over at Automate Your Life posted this video, where he gives you 6 compelling reasons why smart homes are broken. And that's because of the decisions made by smart home companies in the last 5 years. But I disagree. I think Brian is more to blame for why things feel so broken. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Welcome back to SlackerLabs. Knowing what I know of Brian, even if he acknowledged my reason for why I think Automate Your Life is partly to blame for this feeling that the smart home space is getting worse, I don't think he would ever say it himself. But I will. And before you at me, hear me out. Because I'm pretty sure whatever you think I'm about to say is wrong. First, if you haven't gone to watch his video, there's a link in the description. Be sure to do that, because I'm going to just hit the highlights related to his comments about the smart home space. The basic gist of his video is that the smart home is broken, because the smart home companies have failed us. Brian defines a smart home as...
Now, a smart home is this utopian idea where a home will respond to your needs and wants without you really needing to be involved.
Now, I'm not saying that utopia exists today, but that utopia totally exists today. In fact, the main functions of my smart home are completely automated. We simply go about our life, and the smart home handles the lights, the security system, reminds us about the things we need to do, and everything else, all without our involvement. No voice commands, no wall tablets, no pulling out your phone to turn off the lights that got left on. Well, there are exceptions, but anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Let me recap the 6 reasons why the smart home space today is a dumpster fire. First, the smart home devices are inconsistent, so consumers spend way too much time researching to find the right device. Second, smart home tech is not intuitive, and how these devices work or should be used to build a smart home is not front and center for consumers. Third, these devices are not engineered to be reliable. Fourth, there's no guaranteed lifespan of smart home devices. The companies building these devices and services could decide today that the end of life for that product you just bought was yesterday. Fifth, Matter didn't live up to the hype. And sixth, the smart home space really has not changed in the past 5 years. And I agree with him on almost every one of these points. But Brian puts the blame on the smart home companies, specifically their strategic decisions over the last 5 years. And I think that's where he gets things wrong, because smart home companies today are doing the same thing they've always done. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Jeff.
It's Jefe, man.
And I got interested in automating my house back in the early 2000s. But even back then, there were no clear standards in smart home devices. X10, XPL, XAP, serial devices. It was a mess, so I started tinkering with a piece of software called Mr. House, which was built as a way to get all of this disparate tech to be that single utopian idea of a smart home. But I gave up, because it required too much research to know which devices would work. There was no consistency in the products, so there was no clear way on how to integrate it, so I could have that smart home I dreamed of. And frankly, there were no signs of innovation in the smart home space. So in essence, nothing has really changed in the last 2 decades. Sure, we got better standards, but the problems we were trying to solve in the early 2000s are the same problems we're trying to solve today.
We gotta find a way to make this fit into the hole for this, using nothing but that.
How do you build a smart home that operates as a single entity using the disparate smart home tech being sold to us? But something has changed, and a lot of it in the last 5 years. Since the very first smart home product hit the market, the companies making those devices have all had the same goal: sell as many devices as they can to as many people as they can. In the beginning, consumers were clueless about how these products worked, but thankfully there are marketing departments that can easily identify the problems for you and sell you a solution.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Like, turning on the lights is hard, but if you could turn them on with your phone, easy. All of your dreams would come true. Philips Hue might just have been the tipping point that got people excited about smart home tech. From there, companies learned that consumers would buy all the products as long as they were labeled smart and let you control it with an app, because physical controls were so yesterday. So we got smart everything: smart lights, sensors, toothbrushes, cat toys, other cat toys. But over the last 5 years, there's been a seismic shift in consumer sentiment regarding smart home tech. And that is Brian's fault. Well, not entirely Brian's fault. There's plenty of blame to spread around, because in the last 5 years, channels like Automate Your Life have injected themselves in our lives like some kind of Morpheus, offering us a choice that until they showed up, most of us hadn't even known existed. We take the blue pill, we buy some Philips Hue, maybe a Roomba, and we can call our house a smart home. Or we take the red pill, and we see the world the smart home manufacturers never really wanted us to see. And more of us in the last 5 years took the red pill because of Brian. When Matter was first announced, I couldn't figure out the why. We already had established standards that did most of what Matter was promising, and what we didn't have had already been solved by platforms like SmartThings, Habitat, and Home Assistant. But those platforms meant consumers were no longer dependent on some of the key services and products smart home companies were trying to sell. I think Matter came along as a way for these companies to reel back in some control, because with the growing popularity of channels like Automate Your Life, Smart Home Solver, Everything Smart Home, and The Hookup, just to name a few, we were getting more adept at building our own smart homes despite the walled gardens these companies were trying to maintain. But while Matter can make connecting hubs from different companies easy, it also enables companies to give consumers that feeling that they have a smart home while maintaining a need for their customers to buy their products. And I think that's why expecting smart home companies to fix this is the utopian vision we'll never see. It isn't all darkness and despair though. As Brian said towards the end of his video, there are smart home companies out there building good products and services designed specifically for those of us looking to build our own smart home. The best thing we can do is support the products and services that enable that vision. And thanks to Brian and the other smart home content creators out there helping us to see past the marketing campaigns so that we can get to really automating the boring stuff.